Hi everyone, Big Pauly back for a brand new video. Yes, back to talk about a few of the films that I've seen in the last 7 to 10 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got a good 7 films to talk about. So let's do it. Okay, so the first film I want to talk about is Jurassic World. Yes, the first of the new trilogy, directed by Colin Trevorrow, starring Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt, and lots of dinosaurs. Now, of the 3 recent films, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom and Dominion, I think this is my favourite. Because it goes back to explore the original film so far as the park is concerned. I think these Jurassic Park films work best when they're actually in kind of like a Disneyland type park structure, rather than dinosaurs out there roaming the world and eating people in forests and shit like that. So yes, after the failure of the original Jurassic Park, not commercially, not the film, I mean the actual park itself, this goes forward years in the future, and this shows, you know, what happened to the park. It's now world famous. It's got its opening day, and thousands and thousands of people are flocking to the park. It's now an established park, and shit happens. You know what happens with dinosaurs. Shit happens. Chris Pratt is training velociraptors, whereas in the old days they would just eat them. But I really enjoyed the film. I like the pacing of the film. I think the special effects are fantastic. The cast is great, especially Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. They work so good together. Some really tense, exciting scenes in the film. And I think this is one of the better films. This is one of the better Jurassic Park films, or Jurassic World films. So for Jurassic World, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, noshing the old people. That sounds really weird. Okie dokie. So next up, we have the next film in the franchise, which is Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. This is half and half. This is like 2 films. There are some people out there that really enjoy the second part of the film. For me, it's the first half again, because we get to revisit the park on the island, Jurassic World Island, after the attack from the previous film. We have to go and save a load of dinosaurs because they're in danger of being extinct again, from an exploding volcano. And I think that whole first 45 minutes to an hour is really exciting. They're running around the island trying to capture these dinosaurs. There's a fantastic scene with them trying to escape the horde of dinosaurs running towards the edge of the cliff as the volcano goes up. There is a fantastic scene of the T-Rex roaring with the mountain blowing up in the background. Beautiful shot that is. And you can't forget probably one of the most iconic Jurassic World scenes ever, and probably one of the most iconic Jurassic scenes from all of these 6 films, and that is the scene of that dinosaur at the end of the pier, with its silhouette as all the lava and the smoke engulf it. It's such a sad scene. It once was said that dinosaur at the end there that got engulfed is actually the same one from the original Jurassic Park. You know, the one that jumps up to get the leaves off the tree with the other. Remove your sunglasses. Whether or not that's true, I don't know, but it's a nice kind of fitting end. But yeah, the second half of this was okay. It started to delve in to a bit of weird stuff, with like human cloning, and it had a whole kind of a horror feel to it towards the end. And the whole auction of people trying to sell off these dinosaurs, I think we just went a little bit too far. And I think after the first half, it just went down. It just drifted down. So, yeah, the second half of this film was not my favourite. It's still an enjoyable a film to watch to a certain extent. So that is Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and I gave that 6.5 out of 10. Just enjoy the first half. Yeah. Next up, we went to see Jurassic World Dominion, which I believe is probably the longest Jurassic World film or park film, clocking in at over about 2.5 hours. Bringing back characters of Bryce Dallas Howard, Chris Pratt, characters from the first 2 Jurassic World films. Plus, we also reintroduce the original trilogy, the original trilogy cast of Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum, and Laura Dern. And they bring back those characters again. Those characters worked okay in the film. I think Jeff Goldblum shone better than any of the other characters. He had more to do. He had more one-liners, and his dialogue just really did fit. So far as the actual story is concerned, about the dinosaurs are now out there. They're now roaming the world side by side with humans. It kind of like takes away a bit of the danger without them being in this isolated like park. And the dinosaurs didn't seem that dangerous. They didn't give that fear factor for some reason. Yeah, there was a whole kind of like excursion as well, like a scene, a whole sequence set, kind of mimicking No Time to Die with a motorcycle. Chris Pratt riding through wherever it was it Venice or somewhere, or Vienna, on the motorbike with velociraptors chasing him. It kind of gave me that No Time to Die motorcycle or Mission Impossible type of vibe, that whole part of that sequence there. So that kind of like just detracted from the film. I think if they'd cut all of that out, then maybe the film would have flowed a little bit better, because it was too long. It was 2.5 hours, way too long. I don't know if they're going to go anywhere else with this film. It was okay. It's not one of my favourite Jurassic films, and I did feel I was disappointed. I did leave the cinema very disappointed. My dad said it was not one of the best. I think he said it was the worst Jurassic film. My auntie said it wasn't as good as the previous film, so we were all in agreement. And as we were getting up to leave, there was a bloke behind. He just shouted out that was the biggest pile of shit he's ever seen in his life. So we weren't the only ones, but it was entertaining, but it wasn't the Jurassic World Dominion film that I was hoping for. Maybe a second rewatch, I'll like it a bit more. It was a good film, but it just wasn't anywhere near as good as Jurassic World or the original trilogy. But anyway, I gave Jurassic World Dominion 6 out of 10 Jurassic films that are too long. Next up, we have Lightyear. That's it. It's the Adventures of Buzz Lightyear. And this is kind of a prequel to the Toy Story films, in a way that the Toy Story of Buzz Lightyear, the actual toy, is based on this film. So it tells you at the beginning of the film that, in Toy Story, Andy was playing with Buzz Lightyear, and this is the toy that emerged from the film you're watching now. So you have to imagine that, so this is a prequel. This is a prequel, even though the special effects look a lot better than the previous Toy Stories. It was good. It was entertaining. I never got bored. It's not one of Pixar's best films. It's still up there. It's still up there. It's still a really good film. There was scenes near the beginning of the film that were emotional regarding one of Buzz's comrades, you know, flight comrades, because he's like a test pilot. He's trying to test like hyperspace so that they can leave this planet. So it was a very emotional. It was a bit kind of up emotion. And there's a whole concept of time, you know, time travel, as well as dimensions and things like that. There was probably one of the best things of the film was socks. Buzz's little electronic cat, which was funny, and it makes you want to go out and just buy a socks now. And I did see them in the toy shop. Unfortunately, it was like £79.99 or 95, so I was a little bit rich. But I enjoyed the film. Good pacing. Chris Evans did a good job voicing Buzz Lightyear. You know, the original Buzz Lightyear was voiced by Tim Allen. So everybody expected this Buzz Lightyear to be voiced by Tim Allen. And then when they found out that it's not, they were complaining. But this is the original Buzz Lightyear, and the toy is based on this character. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was a really good film, and I can't wait to see it again. And it looked beautiful. The animation was fantastic, and it's Pixar making a film look absolutely fantastic with some heart in it as well. So I gave Lightyear 7 out of 10 to infinities and beyond. You know, I was going to put that in there. Yeah. Next up is a film called Interceptor. This was a spur of the moment thing that I decided to watch on Sky Movies, I think it was, or Netflix. I can't quite remember. And I can't remember the woman's name, but it's the Elena from the Fast and Furious films. I believe it's Chris Hemsworth's wife in real life. After she accuses a high-ranking military general or something of sexual harassment, she kind of like gets outed from the military. You know, they don't want her in the military anymore, so it gets very dodgy for her. But she does get a chance to get back in there and to prove herself. And it's basically Die Hard on kind of like a platform, like not an oil rig, but it's a platform in the middle of the sea, which is, in America, there was 2 early kind of like detection areas that can destroy nuclear missiles if they're fired from places like Russia. There is one on land which gets overrun and gets taken out, so it just leaves this last platform that can fire missiles to intercept any incoming nuclear missile from Russia. And that gets taken over by a band of terrorists that basically just want to blow the shit out of America. And they have like 15 or 16 nuclear missiles ready to go from Russia. It was okay. There was a good bit of action in there. I don't think she was the best person for the job, acting wise. You know, she was good in Fast and Furious, but I really don't think she's a leading lady character. And I think she was only there because Chris Hemsworth, I'm sure he must have been something to do with producing it or something like that. He did have a bit of a weird role in the film. He was just someone that he was selling TVs in some kind of radio rentals type store. It's really bloody weird. But yeah, there was a good bit of action in it. It was entertaining for an hour and a half. It wasn't too long. It's one of those throwaway movies where you watch it and, you know, it's on Netflix on a Friday night or something on a Saturday afternoon. You watch it and then you just roll on to the next thing. You know, it's not gonna leave a lasting impression. But Interceptor, I gave 5.5 out of 10. Where's me nukes? Yes. Next up, I finally have watched the whole of the Untouchables. I know I've seen this over the years, but I've only seen like very little small clips in like movie shows on TV. Never actually seen the film all the way through. I have to say, this was a bloody good film. This seriously was a good film. This is a Brian De Palma film, and stars Kevin Costner as Elliot Ness. We have Charles Martin Smith in here. We have Andy Garcia, Robert De Niro, of course, who was playing Al Capone, and Sean Connery as well, playing a character called Malone, who's kind of like an aging, almost retired cop, you know, that was still on the beat rather than, you know, sitting in an office somewhere. And it's all about prohibition in 1930 in Chicago, and the illegal sale of alcohol, and also trying to prove that Al Capone is not paying his taxes. So he's getting away with that. So if they can pin that on him, then they can arrest him. There was some good action in it, some good tension. I love the look of it. It looked beautiful. The cars were fantastic, you know, very authentic. Robert De Niro was brilliant. That's one thing about Robert De Niro. I think Robert De Niro is best when he's playing the hard man, when he's playing the villain. You know, whether it be this or whether it's Heat, Goodfellas, anything like that. I don't really latch on to Robert De Niro too much when he's doing comedies. A lot of them don't work, so I think that's his role, you know, as the hard man. Kevin Costner was fantastic. Sean Connery, always fantastic. The thing about Sean Connery is he's supposed to be like an Irish American cop, but it's the whole accent, and I really don't care. I don't give a toss. It's Sean Connery. If it's Sean Connery with that voice, it don't matter where he is or what accent he's supposed to be doing or what language he's supposed to be talking in. It has to sound like Sean Connery, because that's it. So I had no problem with Sean Connery. I know I've heard that he's done a bad accent in it. I really don't give a shit about his accent. It's Sean Connery, for Christ's sake. Yeah, so this was a really great film. As I say, this Dolby Atmos was brilliant. It looked beautiful. I loved the scenes when they were going to intercept them on the bridge, where they were all on horseback, gave that Western feel to it. What's his name? Ennio Morricone. I don't know if I've pronounced that right, who does the music for it. The music was absolutely fantastic, and it had that Mission to Mars sound to it, mainly because he did the music for Mission to Mars as well. So you could have interswapped Mission to Mars's music with this, and it would have fitted both the films. But I think from a movie creation and from direction and cinematography, this is a absolute brilliant film. And the end scenes with the railway station and the pram leaves you on the edge of your seat, and there's just so much tension in the film. So yes, I had a great time watching the Untouchables, and I gave that 8.5 out of 10. Let's go and have a drink. Okay, which leaves me to the last film, which is one that I seen today. It's Licorice Pizza. Yes. I didn't know where to go with this at first, because the trailer really didn't sell it for me. I'd heard that various people really liked the film, like Jamie Powell. He loved the film. And yeah, I wasn't quite sure what to expect. It's set in the 70s. And it stars Alana Haim, who is one of the members of the band Haim, which is kind of like the female Hanson, as far as I know. Cooper Hoffman, who is Philip Seymour Hoffman's son. We have a bit of Sean Penn in there, and Bradley Cooper, who's a bit of a creep. He's a bit of a weirdo. And this is directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. It could be a bit weird because she's playing 25-year-old, whereas he's playing a 15-year-old. I mean, he looks the same age as she does anyway, if not older. But it could be weird because the whole film is about their relationship, their ever-growing friendship, and as we get towards the end, they start to hook up, and it could be a bit weird and a bit creepy, because it's kind of not quite, but it's kind of verging on paedophilia in a way. I'm probably going to get a lot of comments about that, but when you think about it, she's 25 and she's dating a 15-year-old, and I think that if this was around the other way and it was a 25-year-old bloke and hanging about with a 15-year-old girl, I think this film probably would have had a bit of trouble, and I think this would have had quite a bit of backlash. So it's weird to talk about, but most of the film they're just friends, you know. Even though through the film they say, no, she's not my girlfriend. We're not girlfriend and boyfriend. We're just friends. And it's about the journey in the 70s. And Cooper Hoffman's character, he's a bit of a low time actor that's acted in a few things. And he kind of like goes from thing to thing. So, you know, he goes for auditions for a commercial. Then he gets involved in selling waterbeds, and then he gets involved in trying to create a pinball empire. So he's a bit of an entrepreneur. I don't think he really has his direction set out, and she kind of like just goes with the flow with him. But also there's politics as well. They also get involved in, you know, politics with a mayor as well. I have to say that I actually did enjoy it. It's a very slow burn film. It is a very character driven film. Slow burn, but it is good, and the performances are good. I wouldn't say that, what was her name? Alana Haim. I wouldn't say that her acting is brilliant. Sometimes it's a bit dodgy, but she did a good job. But I think she should maybe stick to singing. But Cooper Hoffman was fantastic. He was absolutely brilliant in the film. And hopefully we can see him in stuff later on. So yeah, it was a good film. I love the whole 70s vibe, you know, with the look of it, the cars, the clothing. We have the 70s soundtrack, the music. And for 2.25 hours, I never got bored one bit. Followed the story all the way through. There was a lot of laughs in there, so certain things were, you know, were comedic. And I just really had a good time with it. Yeah. Very surprisingly, because I thought I was going to hate this film. I thought I was going to probably turn it off after 10 minutes, but what can I say? I enjoyed it. Fantastic. Okay, so Licorice Pizza. I gave that 7 out of 10. I don't think I want licorice on my pizza. Yes, so there we go. So that is the last lot of films that I've seen over the last 7 to 10 days. So I hope some of that interested you, or maybe you'll check a couple of them out. And like the video by giving it some thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, comment and share. And I'll see you on the next video very soon. Bye bye for now.